Looking around this room, I see a lot of Democrats, so I'd like to say a few words about why I'm proud to be a Democrat. Does anybody agree with me? But let me tell you a little bit about why I'm proud to be a Democrat. For, almost 4,000 years now, we've known that a just society is one that feeds the hungry, that shelters the homeless, and that heals the sick. That's what a just society is. And that reflects the fact that inside of each one of us is a spark called empathy. Maybe you remember what it was like when we saw on our TV screen the terrible disaster in Haiti following the earthquake. Now, I'm going to venture to say that almost nobody in this room, maybe nobody in this room, actually knew anybody in Haiti at the time that that happened. But you looked at your TV screens, you listened to the radio, you understood what was happening, and you felt bad about it. And many of you felt, I wish I could do something to help. Well, that impulse toward helping your fellow man, is what makes you a Democrat. That's what makes you a Democrat. Now, a lot of people try to depict the political party that you belong to as some kind of club, like it's the Lions Club or the Kiwanis Club. I don't see it that way. I think of us more like gangs. Like the Crips or the Blood. And the gang that I belong to is one that shows that we actually care about other people. We care about their lives. And you can't take that for granted because, first of all, not everybody feels that way. There are actually people who don't feel that way. They only care about themselves, or maybe themselves and their family, and that's as far as they'll go. Those people aren't here today. You're different. The reason why I know you're different is because you are here today. There are also some people who may have that impulse from time to time, but they watch Fox News, so it's lost, it's destroyed. Fox News tries to get us all to think of ourselves as atoms bouncing off each other in the void with no real connection to each other whatsoever. And we're not. We honestly don't feel that way. That impulse toward empathy, that impulse that says, I do care about my fellow man, is something that all of you feel, and it's something that's actually universal. You can go to Bosnia, you'll find the same thing. You can go to New Guinea, and you'll find the same thing. All around the world, everybody wants to fall in love. Everybody respects and adores children, whether or not they're their own. Everywhere around the world, there is a taboo against violence. And everywhere around the world, people care about other people. That's just what it means to be a human being, and specifically what it means to be a Democrat. Now, when we see somebody who is too old to work, we want that person to have a pension or Social Security. When we see somebody who's sick, we want that person to see a doctor. When we see somebody who is uneducated and wants an education, we want that person to be able to get an education. The other side sees it differently. They think that you are somehow taking advantage of them to help them. We try to help people. The other side tries to convince everyone how much better they'll be off if nobody helps them. If you are unemployed, we want you to have a job. The other side says, tough luck, go look for a job. Not my problem. If you are someone who loses your house, we want you to have a place to live. The other side says, go move in with your in-laws. As someone who is an in-law, I wouldn't be too happy about that. And of course, I've said over and over again, if you are sick, we want you to get better. We want you to be able to see a doctor, and this includes the 40 million Americans who don't have health coverage today. And the other side says, don't get sick. And if you do get sick, so we actually want to solve people's problems. We think hard about what it is in people's lives that require a solution, and we do our best to solve those problems. The other side simply wants to take hands off on everybody and to devil take the hindmost. You've heard that before, right? The devil take the hindmost? Think about what that actually means. if you're marching, as a group, if you're walking to a specific location, there's always going to be some people who fall behind. Some people who are sick, some people who are weak, some people who can't keep the pace. Well, on the other side, they want the devil to take the hindmost, and we don't. That's what makes us different. Another thing that makes us different is this. We want everybody to be all they can be. Now, I know that the Army has appropriated that, that particular slogan, but the fact is that in my mind, that goes to the heart of what it means to be a Democrat. We want people to be all that they can be. The other side claims that they want that, but what they really mean is that they want everybody to be left alone, and they want cheap labor. They want the strong to be able to take advantage of the weak. But we recognize, for instance, that children don't educate themselves. Certainly my 5 don't. We also recognize that the sick don't heal themselves. Now, in life, there's all sorts of barriers to being all you can be. One barrier is health. If you are sick, you need to have coverage, you need to be able to see a doctor, otherwise you will not be all you can be. Another barrier is ignorance and a lack of education. People don't automatically have the opportunities for good education. It has to be created for them. In the same way that diapers don't change themselves, another thing I can vouch for personally. In the same way, children do not educate themselves. You know, the invisible hand is not going to educate our children. It's not going to heal our sick. So, and there's all sorts of other barriers in life. Let's talk about the 15-year-old girl who gets pregnant. My oldest child is now 15. It could happen to her. We want our children not to be knocked off of the trajectory that they can find through life that takes them to where they want to be. We don't want a 15-year-old pregnant girl to be forced to bear the child. We don't want to... And I've said on many occasions that that's because the fundamental human right, the most important human right, is the right to control your own body. But in addition to that, a 15-year-old pregnant girl who's forced to have the child when she doesn't want to have the child is not going to have a good life. Nor will that child, for that matter. But it's something that bumps you off the trajectory that you can achieve given your talents, your skills, your interests, your abilities, the things that make you you. The only way to allow that to happen is to help people, to give them the support that they need. Another thing that holds us back is racism, discrimination, sexism, all the isms that separate one from another. As a party, we have taken a strong, consistent stand against all of these things. Why? Because we want women to be able to contribute whatever women can contribute and achieve what they can achieve in life. We want minorities like African Americans, like Latinos, like Asians, like others, to be able to do the same. We want gays to be able to do the same. Now, I am not saying that the country cannot go forward without our answers to these problems. What I am saying is that we have something to offer America that is fundamentally different from the other side. What I am saying is that we have a duty when we do have power, as we did for 2 years, to make sure that our people are protected and they can move forward. To make sure that, as we did, all Americans can see a doctor when he or she might be sick. My proudest accomplishment in Congress. And by the same token, we have to make sure that, how shall I put this? The people who represent the sinews of the Democratic Party are protected in other ways. For instance, it would have been good if we'd had a vote on the Employee Free Choice Act. It would have been good if we were able to accomplish meaningful immigration reform and take 10 million people out of the shadows. Now, you know, what does the other side do? they consistently deliver for the people who give them the money to run their campaigns. Okay? I mean, you would not believe how far they were willing to push things in order to extend tax cuts for the rich. They were willing to basically shut down the government, eliminate the federal budget, eliminate the protection that we have as a country, simply in order to be able to extend tax cuts for the rich. That's their constituency. We, as Democrats, we try to comfort the afflicted. They try to comfort the comfortable. And sometimes afflict the afflicted. So, in any event, this is why I'm proud to be a Democrat. I'm proud to be a Democrat because we are people with a conscience. We have a head and a heart, as I said about Alcee Hastings. We are the people who can actually make things better. This idea that if you leave things alone, somehow things will get better, it's not true. We tried that for 8 years. Things just got worse. So what we have to do is we have to take our message to people. We have to explain to people there is actually a real choice here. The real choice is between people who want your life to be better and people who just don't give a damn. That's the fundamental choice. So, as I said recently, you have only 3 friends in life: God, your mama, and the Democratic Party. And don't be too sure about your mama. Thank you all very much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.